All right, good evening, everyone. This is my second board meeting presiding as president. The president has not be in a, he has a family emergency. We're asking, please, privacy. So there's going to be a couple housekeeping items that I want to go over before we get. Am I cutting out? Can everyone hear me? Okay, so we have 30 people signed up for public comment tonight. Our board policy 903 effectively says that we usually allow 4 minutes per participant to engage in public comment with a total of 30 minutes. And it's extremely important that the board hears from everyone. We want everyone to be able to participate in our meeting. So as acting president for this meeting, I'm going to change the rules of this meeting. And we're going to give each participant 2 minutes, and we're going to extend the time from 30 minutes to 1 hour. So I think with the number of participants, we should be able to get through public comment. And I would ask everyone to please be respectful of everyone's time and everyone that signed up. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to read the opening statement now. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Board of Directors meetings, committee meetings are open to the public but are not public meetings. All school district residents that wish to make public comment should have signed up prior to the start of the meeting and request to speak during citizens' participation. School district residents wishing to speak to the board shall do so only during the citizens' participation section of this meeting. The board will not tolerate any public outbursts or disruptions, nor will it tolerate comments made outside of the citizens' participation. Public comment is welcome, and all issues will be referred to the appropriate board committee or administrators. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes and made available by contacting the business office. And I would like to say that anyone that may not get a chance to speak, or those that do not want to speak publicly, you can submit your comments in writing to the district, and we'll make sure that they're captured in the meeting minutes. So roll call. All members are present except the exception of President Hassinger, who is attending to a family emergency. Could we please raise hand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Showed me.
We have notices and communications. Dr. Perrin, you want to just step through that?
Sure. Just a reminder, school starts tomorrow. Yay. Everybody say. So as we normally do with first day of school, if your child rides the school bus, please be a little extra patient those first couple of days as the contractors get used to their routes. Couple minutes early, couple minutes late, especially those afternoon runs, they tend to be a little bit later as the drivers start to get settled in to those routes. And we appreciate our drivers and their hard work up front, getting everybody to school safe. A couple of other calendar items. September 1st, the Professional Development Day. There's no school on that day. And also September 4th, Labor Day. There's no school on that day as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Perrin. Section 4 is citizens' participation. And before we get into that, as I mentioned before, we have 29 or 30 folks they would like to address the board tonight. And we welcome public comment. We encourage it. And I just want everyone in attendance. Everyone has an opinion. And everyone's opinion is important. But I ask you to please be respectful of any of our public speakers and refrain from any uncivil behavior. I'm not saying that will happen, but it would be in the best interest of the board and the meeting tonight if we could all do that. And something else, we just held a public executive session prior to the meeting. And the board has been in discussion with the administration a lot over the topic that most of you guys are here for this evening. And at the recommendation of our solicitor, and after discussing it with the administration, I would like someone on the board, someone on the board to make a motion to, regarding agenda number, item 5.3, I would like a motion to remove Coach Yates from the HR consideration, so we have the opportunity to hear from everyone before we make a vote.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to remove Coach Yates from 5.3, Human Resources Recommendation, roll call. Did we do our debate on that? Would that go directly to a roll call, or would that be for debate? All right, does anyone have any questions? Any board members have any questions? All right, hearing none. Kevin?
No.
Michelle?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Al?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Jeremy? Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, I'm moving into citizens' participation. Dr. Moyer, would you please call first speaker?
Thank you, President Dickerson. And just a quick reminder, again, we have a number of people that have requested to address the board. If you would come up to the microphone and speak clearly, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm apologizing in advance if I screw up on your name. Please correct me right away on that. So you'll have 2 minutes. At 90 seconds, with 30 seconds left, I will give you a heads up that you need to wrap things up. That way we can hear from as many people as possible during the allotted time. Our first speaker, Casey Zerg.
Good evening, everyone. I am Casey Zerg. I am a senior here at Gettysburg Area High School. I was here a few months ago for an FFA presentation. I've been here before, and I am serving this year as the 2023 to 2024 Adams County Alternate Dairy Princess. We have not had a promotion team in over 20 years, so we're still rebuilding and redeveloping ourselves to get out in the community. One of our biggest goals for this year is getting out into the community and promoting the dairy industry. So some of our key target audiences are elementary school classrooms, where we'd like to get into start with Gettysburg School District, since we're mainly all located there, and get into the elementary classrooms and give a little lesson about dairy, the dairy industry, and then have a little lesson plan and a fun activity, and then also some games about dairy knowledge. And then to also target a larger, more age-broad audience, we'd like to get into sport activities and athletics events. And we would like to have a little table set up there, have a little announcement during halftime about some dairy information, dairy knowledge, promoting the dairy industry. And then also have a few little goodies we can hand out, which I will have for each board member to look at. And at the end of each game, we'd like to give all the sports players, Gettysburg team and the opposing team, a serving of chocolate milk so they can rehydrate and refuel with chocolate milk that we will provide. Thank you.
Casey, thank you. And on behalf of the board, we appreciate your efforts. And congratulations on being recognized as the Apple Queen.
Dairy Queen.
I'm sorry. Dairy Queen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next we have Andrea Wickerham.
Thank you, honey.
Hi there. My name is Andrea Wickerham, and I reside in Gettysburg. By way of background, I'm a 1976 graduate of Gettysburg High School. I was a high school and college student athlete, a college coach, and a college athletics department administrator. In addition, I am a lawyer with work experience in employment law, contracts, human resources administration, including leading athletic department employment-related investigation. I attended the school board meeting on Monday, August 7th. I was shocked by the motion not to renew the supplemental contract for the head tennis coach. The board's deadlock vote of 3-3 with one abstention told me that this was not truly a serious personnel matter. I have come to learn that the head coach, very well respected, held in high regard by both teams, by many parents, and by members of the Gettysburg tennis community. I also have come to learn that board member Michelle Smyers, the individual who made the motion to not renew the contract, has made hateful and biased comments about the LGBTQ+ community, specifically those who are transgender.
30 seconds.
I have seen some of those posts with my own eyes. I believe her desire to not renew the head tennis coach's contract is based on transphobia rather than on a legitimate, non-discriminatory work performance reason. If there had been a legitimate work-related reason for not renewing the head coach's contract, the athletic director and the principal, the professionals who know this coach, who know her employment record, who know her students and work most closely, would have done just that. They would have not renewed the contract.
That's time. Thank you.
I urge you to vote to renew the contract. Thank you.
Next we have John Wickerham. John, am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Wega, yes, that's fine. Yeah, thank you for letting me speak. My name is John Wega. I live in Gettysburg. A couple things to say. I see you as on the helm of a ship. You just have a little part to play to try to steer a little rudder. And I see not a problem here tonight, but a challenge. And in challenge, there's always opportunity. You have a lot of people with passion and belief here, and everyone's seeking a solution. We hope you can help to put that together. Now, you have two things. One is the singular aspect of this one individual's employment. That is really what's on discussion tonight, but it's really touching onto a much larger issue which can't be solved tonight. I did note that in your board policy established in February 6, 2006, number 404, the superintendent or designee shall seek candidates of good moral character for employment. That's an aspect that would be considered for this particular individual. A couple things bringing up on the larger issue. The American Academy of Pediatrics, Volume 144, Issue 5, November 2019, said there's an emerging evidence indicates transgender adolescents exhibited elevated rates of suicidal ideation and attempted compared with cisgender adolescents. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among adolescents in the U.S., and adolescent suicide rates have increased over the past 2 decades. It's emerging evidence that transgendered adolescents they're quoting about 34% report experiencing suicidal ideation during the past year, and 61% report experiencing suicidal ideation during their lifetime. Another from the Journal of Interpersonal Violence quotes data that indicates up to 80% of transgender individuals have considered killing themselves, 40% have attempted suicide. Now, I commend you on the aspect this year of putting in place a police department, but the biggest danger may not be bullets. The biggest wounds may not be the physical ones on the outside. There's other injuries to people. It could be silent things that are unseen. What I would recommend, and just seeing from this, is looking not just at this individual case tonight, because this will come and it will go, but keeping in mind that the individual right does not allow you to really infringe upon the many. And I think that's an issue here for the people, protecting everyone. This is a public institution, not a private special institution. And in that, I would like to say that on looking at the bigger picture, really putting in place some things that's going to help prevent suicides from people that may have some real challenges in life. I would say embrace it, everyone in the community, and looking at these things on a much bigger scale. But again, do not allow individual rights to be exerted or bullied to the point of infringing on the rights of the many.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
That's fine. Mr. Steve Carwell.
Good evening. My name is Steve Carbo. I have a daughter who attends Gettysburg Senior High School. She's a 16-year-old. I would highly recommend the board not bring Mr. David Yates back as a tennis coach. Not due to hate, such as most are portraying this to be. It's due with Mr. Yates' actions. On April the 12th of 2023 at approximately 1:50 in the afternoon, my daughter was in the bathroom across from the gymnasium in the senior high school, going to the restroom before one of her sporting events, which was held at home. While she exited the bathroom stall, she ran into Mr. David Yates in the female bathroom. Imagine that, a 16-year-old female running into a full-grown adult in the bathroom of her high school. I put the custody of my child in your hands during the day, and it's my job as a parent to protect my child. And this administration has not done that. There's no reason that a 16-year-old girl should feel uncomfortable going to the bathroom. She immediately texted her coach, told her what transpired. At that point, the coach and the assistant coach spoke about it. I was informed that evening of such. On the morning of April the 13th, I reported this to Principal Jeremy Lusk at 7:30 in the morning. He seemed very unknowledgeable about this incident whatsoever. He called my daughter to the office. He interviewed her. Her story became the same as what mine was, which is what I was told by her that evening. He said that he would have to speak to the superintendent and the solicitor and that he would get back to me.
30 seconds.
After a long conversation with Principal Lusk, including another incident which occurred apparently in the girls' locker room with the varsity soccer team, Coach Mr. Yates changed his clothes with the girls in that locker room at that point in time. He acknowledged the incident happened, he reprimanded him, and he said that he would have to make sure that he would go over the guidelines with Mr. Yates one more time and that they would be followed.
That's time, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Benjamin Kennedy.
Hello, thank you. I have already written the board on my own behalf with my views that Coach Yates should be retained since she is a capable and supportive coach. I'm here to read a statement from my older son, Spencer Kennedy, Gettysburg Area High School class of 2023, who could not be here this evening. So, reading for my son, Spencer. My name is Spencer Kennedy. I have been working with Sasha Yates at Gettysburg Area High School for 4 years. 4 years as a player, 3 years as a manager, and 1 year as a captain. I have worked closely with Sasha in every one of these positions. As a coach, Sasha is fair, kind, and unafraid to help us improve. As a person, she is humorous, generous, and deeply empathetic. During the 2021-2022 school year, we won our division in a truly wonderful upset. We have had unbelievable wins, tragic losses, and all the standard triumphs and pitfalls of high school sports. My memories of the tennis team are some of my fondest from the entirety of high school. Sasha has always respected boundaries, helped the struggling, and made the team a welcoming place for all. She is a highly qualified coach and coaches because of her love of the sport and the camaraderie within the team. There is no valid reason for Sasha's position to be terminated. Sasha is a woman. Over the past 4 years, I have watched her realize this and have watched as she has transitioned into her true self. It has been a privilege to see someone as talented, caring, and funny as she is blossom into her own. To persecute her for being herself is against every moral code the school stands for. I hope for the sake of those who are seeking Sasha's termination that they repair their hearts. I hope for Sasha's sake that the board retains her as coach. I hope for students' sake that she decides to return to coaching. Thank you.
Next we have Paul Kennedy. Paul, any relation?
Hello, my name is Paul Kennedy, and I will be a sophomore at Gettysburg Area High School this fall. I am also a member of the tennis team. The tennis team are the people that this is truly affecting, and I believe that there is no person in Gettysburg more qualified to coach both the boys and the girls tennis teams of Gettysburg Area High School than Coach Sasha Yates. Under Sasha's coaching, I have not only developed a profound love for the sport of tennis, but my skills as a player have improved dramatically. Sasha is a very accomplished and passionate coach. She comes every day smiling, ready to make us work, but also allow us to have fun. Sasha is a very important part of my high school experience as my coach, and I believe that terminating her would be wrong and be wrong in the eyes of all the tennis players, the ones who this decision really affects. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Next we have Diane Frenet.
Hello. Is that okay? I have two daughters. My eldest, Tiger Lily, sophomore at Gettysburg College, and my youngest, Winter, sophomore at the high school.
Diane, if you would pull the microphone, there you go.
Tiger was on the tennis team her junior and senior years. Winter started with the tennis team as a freshman, is now on varsity, and she plans to play on the tennis team throughout high school. Coach Yates has been a positive, supportive influence with my girl. She was always on the court for practice, preparing before the team arrives, and remains until the last player has either been picked up or has departed in their own transportation. When the girls have matches at other schools, I have witnessed Coach, without being overbearing, make sure she knows where the students are at all times. Our family places a very high value on academics. Anytime there's been a conflict between necessary study time and either a tennis practice or a game, Coach Yates has always respected their decisions. Very important to my family. This program has been successfully led by the same coach since 2018. As a parent of two daughters who have enjoyed being a part of this team, it is difficult for me to understand the need for change. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Next we have Tiger Frenet.
Hello, my name is Tiger Frenet. I am speaking on behalf of my sister, Winter Frenet, who unfortunately cannot attend tonight because of school starting early tomorrow. My sister is a member of the Gettysburg High School tennis team, and I was also on the Gettysburg tennis team. I am now in college, and I am speaking on behalf of both of us. It is easy to see that Coach Yates enjoys tennis. She brings enthusiasm to the team, which increases my enjoyment of the sport and motivates me to continue to work harder. Between summer practices and the school tennis season, I am becoming a significantly better player. I hope this can be worked out because the tennis team is about to start, and I would like to have my coach there working with us and supporting us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger. Next we have Melissa Rosenberg.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you, board members, for giving us our time this evening. I sent a message earlier today, and hopefully you all got an opportunity to read it. I've been a parent of Gettysburg school athletes for, I believe, the past 8 to 10 years. I am thankful to have a daughter who's on the tennis team, and I'd like to just recognize for a moment, any of you tennis kids, can you please stand up for a moment? Tomorrow, these kids are going to school for their first day, and I'd like you all to be thinking about the decisions that you make collectively on behalf of our community, on behalf of our school, and on behalf of our children. And please, please, start taking time to think about how this has a ripple effect. I'm a social worker in this community. I did a field placement with Gettysburg School District a couple years ago. I'm on numerous boards in this community, and I know when I make a vote, it's on behalf of the community and not on my personal interests. So please find it in your heart to start making really, really thoughtful decisions, and look at all the people here today that you had an impact on.
Thank you, Melissa. Next we have Nell Matthews.
Good evening. I'm Nell Matthews, as you just heard. I have known Coach Yates for 6 years. My husband and I started Quick Start, tennis at the Lincoln After School program, summer tennis, and the middle school tennis club, all within the past 20 years. Our programs morphed into the feeder program for the high school tennis team. Coach Yates started volunteering her time to our tennis programs as soon as we met her. I had been hoping someone would come along to take over because I had put my heart and soul into this tennis program for our local students. At times, we had 80 kids on the court. Coach Yates has taken over the summer tennis practices and the middle school tennis club, which meets in the spring and fall when the high school team is done with their seasons, respectively. Tennis is a lifelong sport. My goal as a tennis coach was to instill the love of the game so that our players can be a part of the tennis community throughout their lives, just as I have been so fortunate to have in my life. Coach Yates is a passionate tennis player since the age of 8, a tennis fan and coach. If you do not have a coach who loves what they do, the kids feel this. It's hard to be on the court day after day, making practice enjoyable and encouraging players without having a passion for what you do. Coach Yates has that passion. She is always positive on She is positive both on and off the court, even now in this room. Her performance reviews have all been exemplary, and she is still now the administration's choice as head tennis coach. How many of you have attended a tennis match or a tennis practice on the board? Wow, 2, okay. Frankly, I am appalled and flabbergasted that her contract is in jeopardy because some of you feel uncomfortable. I am closing with a quote from Billie Jean King.
Thank you, Nell.
Okay. Billie Jean King said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Next, we have Dr. Sonia Dalton. DC. How close was that pronunciation?
Deltredici. So, my name is Sonia Deltredici. I'm the mom of Paul and Spencer Kennedy, who you heard from. I think our family has attended, I estimated somewhere around 400 tennis practices, as our older son is the manager of the women's team, as well as featured player on the men's team for 4 years, and our younger son is on that team as well. We have found Coach Yates to be nothing but professional, appropriate, friendly, an excellent coach, teaching the boys to love the game in a professional and supportive environment over the last 4 years that we have worked with her. I just want to put that out there. I also would like to speak in my professional capacity. I'm a physician in York. I live here in Gettysburg, but I work in York. I'm the leader of our LGBTQ health curriculum at York Hospital. I've worked with many patients who are both transgender or LGBTQ. It does not hurt our children to be in the presence of trans people. The existence of trans people does not hurt our children. What hurts our children is discrimination against trans people, and it particularly hurts. And this particularly hurts our most vulnerable students who are transgender themselves. We have many students in the high school. I know many, many students who themselves are transgender. They are very vulnerable to harassment, bullying, mental health issues, depression, and as one of our other speakers said, sadly, suicide. So just to be very clear, the presence of a transgender staff member in our high school does not hurt our students. Our students need support from the entire community, both gay and straight, both transgender and cisgender. And I speak not just from my personal experience, but also from my expertise in this area of health. So I just really want to say that, and I really want to thank you guys for listening to these many public comments. I know this is an issue that's dear to many of our hearts, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Mr. Hugh Matthews.
My name is Hugh Matthews. We raised 3 kids in the Gettysburg School District. Together with my wife, Nell, we have been involved with teaching tennis here for about 20 years. We started a middle school program several years ago to promote tennis and to act as a feeder program for the high school tennis team. We had as many as 20 middle schoolers coming into the courts at the middle school twice a week in the fall and spring. When Coach Yates began as head tennis coach 5 years ago, she enthusiastically embraced our middle school program. Enthusiastic describes Coach Yates perfectly. We have watched her coach and coached with her since she came to Gettysburg. I would describe Coach Yates as positive, encouraging, inclusionary, fun, and thoughtful in her approach to coaching. Positive in finding good in a student's tennis game and in the student as a person. Encouraging in pushing them to be better players. Inclusionary in stressing that all players are important to the team. Fun. Coach Yates has many mantras, but the one I like the most is, it is vitally important that my athletes have fun. And guess what? If they are having fun in workouts and matches, they tend to play better. Thoughtful and truly caring about how things are going in her athletes' lives. Asking constantly how classes are going, making sure no one is being bullied or feeling left out on the team, promoting camaraderie and team spirit. If she can, in some small way, influence students positively.
30 seconds.
The Gettysburg Area School, I'm reading from the bottom of the Gettysburg thing. The Gettysburg Area School District is prohibited from discriminating against individuals or groups on the basis of race, color, age, credit, sex, sexual orientation. I want to stop this real fast. I read that it is not permitted for any of you to discuss any issue outside of the executive session. When I walked in here tonight, one of your spouses told me that there's a lot of things you don't know, that you don't know.
Thank you, Mr.
So one of you is telling your spouse things about this.
Next we have Sarah Zip.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dr. Sarah Zip, and I'm the mom of 2 girls at Gettysburg Area High School. And I want to just take a moment and say thank you to the students that are here. I applaud you. You make me proud of this community. You make me proud to be a mom of 2 kids at the great school here in Gettysburg. I'll be quick. So, clearly, Coach Yates has a lot of support from her students, from past students, from the community in general, and I think that's really important. And I want to highlight that because in my job, I have spent nearly 20 years researching, teaching, and advocating for girls and women in sport. And what I can tell you is that this disruption is very precarious to a group of people, namely adolescent girls, who are almost twice as likely to drop out of sport as their boy counterparts. And then they miss all those benefits. So here we are creating this unnecessary disruption for all these students, boys and girls, but I think it's particularly important to point out that this is actually causing real harm to these students and causing real harm to the girls especially, and maybe one of the reasons that they might choose to step out. Between the ages of 11 and 17, girls drop out at almost twice the rate of boys. And one key factor for keeping them in sport is a good coach. A coach they feel passionate about, a coach that they feel supports them, that treats them well, and that keeps them engaged and interested in their sport. And we have that person sitting right here. Please, I beg you, do not let her go.
Next we have Jennifer Noll.
When you go this far down in the track, a lot of people have already said some of what I want to say. I'm a nurse by trade. I'm from the Deep South by my accent. I moved up here because I didn't like the way things are going where I was from. I moved to Gettysburg because this is the home of emancipation, not discrimination. I am deeply concerned that by all accounts, this is a wonderful coach, a wonderful teacher, a wonderful leader. So I'm confused why we're even having to have this discussion. The principal was okay with Ms. Yates coming back, the superintendent was, and yet it turns out that one or more of the board members have a personal agenda, have made some very derogatory and frankly concerning remarks about transgender and the lifestyle, and I'm concerned that they're not having to recuse themselves from any vote because it is a personal thing. When you are elected as a board member, you represent all of us, even this stupid little Southern kid from South Carolina. You represent their children, what is best for them. You represent their parents. You are not there to espouse your own personal agenda. And that is concerning to me.
30 seconds.
Liberty is a state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. And since I'm a mom, I guess I'm one of the true moms of liberty.
Next we have Peter Shepler.
Good evening. My name is Peter Shepler. I am living here in Gettysburg. My stepson is a manager on the girls' tennis team and a captain of the boys' tennis team. My wife and I first met Miss Sasha Yates from our son when he was a freshman at the Gettysburg area high school. Our son came home one day and he told us that coach had invited him to join the boys' tennis team at the high school. Our son felt flattered that the teacher already somehow knew that he played tennis and recognized him. In February 2022, we ran into Sasha while shopping with our son. At the time, our son was still suffering from various difficulties caused by the pandemic, and we were worried about him. But meeting Sasha again changed and brightened his life. For this, we feel extremely lucky to have met Sasha and owe her a great debt of gratitude. We had not succeeded in convincing our son to join the tennis team the previous year, but in the short meeting in the store, Sasha succeeded in convincing him to join the tennis team and play that year. Every day after school, our son told us about the wonderful time he had with the teammates and with the coaches, Sasha Yates and Mr. Hauser. Our son quickly restored his health, positive and healthy, happy life. It was such a pleasure for us to observe the activities of the amazing teams that Sasha has been coaching. Sasha is talented in teaching young team players. An especially valuable asset that Sasha has exhibited is how to stay positive. No matter how tough and difficult things are, Sasha teaches the team members to focus on the positive side of all things instead of complaining about them. Sasha's sense of humor always lightens up the atmosphere, but she gets strict when the players do something inappropriate. Our son told us that even though Sasha can be strict, she remains friendly and all senior members will defend her. Based on what we have observed, we are convinced that our children need to be around good and talented coaches like Sasha. She has an excellent role model who treats everyone with fairness and positivity. We strongly believe that the members of both the girls and the boys tennis team benefit from working with Sasha and learn many important things from her about how to approach life and how to treat others that they can take with them beyond the tennis court.
Thank you.
I would just like to remind everyone, it is super important that we hear from everyone. We have 13 more speakers, in about 15 minutes, so if you could please hold your applause and give the speakers time to speak, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you, President Dickerson. Next, we have Lauren Jean Griffin.
Hi, my name is Lauren Jean Griffin. I'm here with my 2 children and my spouse. We moved to Gettysburg 2.5 years ago in the midst of the pandemic, and it was certainly different than my first impression visiting in 8th grade when I learned for the first time I heard the term states' rights and the war of northern aggression. When I got a job offer here, I wasn't sure if I would ever take it or maybe I'd just come for a little while and then leave, get a promotion and move on. But when I visited with my family while we looked for our home, which we hope to be our forever home, I saw signs that said this battle was fought because Black Lives Matter. I saw Martin Luther King quotes all over the town in everybody's yards, and it wasn't even MLK Day. And I was walking down the street and a rainbow flag was flying and just brushed the top of my head. And I thought this might be a different place than I thought it was. As we walked in here today, I saw a sign that said something like, "You are all welcome here as you are." How can the students be welcomed as they truly are if the adults are not welcomed as they are, when the board could possibly be attacking that environment and setting the stage for a hostile, unwelcoming environment? But I also want to pause and say that the human in me sees the human in you, each of you in the board, and each of you people here. I see you all as human beings, and I hope that you also see Coach Yates as a human being that deserves dignity, not to be misgendered out of fear.
30 seconds.
And my hope is that when my children come to this high school, it is a safe place for them. When the most marginalized people are safe to walk free without bullying, then everyone is safe. And I know my children will be safe if Coach Yates is safe, and if other people marginalized in our community are safe. So thank you for your time.
Next, Janet Briggs.
Good evening. I am not a tennis player. My kids are not tennis players. I don't know Coach Yates personally, but I do happen to be the chair of Gettysburg Borough's Human Relations Commission, and this moment has really grabbed my attention. I was away on vacation, just came back last night, dashed off a note to the school board about this issue, but I doubt you've had a time to read it. Given the time constraints, what I'd like to do is just read an excerpt from that. I would like to think that you, as school board members, would not discriminate against anyone based on their sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression when making hiring decisions. You may or may not be aware that the Gettysburg Borough has an anti-discrimination ordinance that specifically addresses such discrimination in the area of employment. Although the Gettysburg Area School District reaches beyond the borough, it seems to me that you would want your policies and practices to be consistent with that ordinance. In addition, the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act prohibits discrimination in employment based on sex, which includes gender identity and expression. Discrimination based on gender and identity could and should lead to a claim against the school district. Perhaps even more importantly, I would hope that school board members would want to model fairness for the district's students. I trust that this would be a chief concern to all of you as individuals. Coach Cohen has served the district since 2018, and it's been renewed each year until now. The school district's administration has brought their hiring recommendation to you. I urge you to base your decision on the ability of the coach and on the recommendation that's come forward. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Janet. Now we have Chelsea Zimmen.
Hi. I just had mono. Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Chelsea Zimmen, and I'm from the Gettysburg area class of 2021. I suffer with borderline personality disorder, which is a disorder which, if you read my email, 70% of students with borderline personality disorder commit suicide or attempt to. When I graduated in 2021, I crossed that stage crying. Not because I was sad to leave high school, but because I could not believe I was alive to be there on that day. Coach Yates is one of the very, very few people who got me through that high school experience. And it wasn't just because of COVID, but because of the situations I was consistently placed in. However, at tennis practice, over and over again, I was encouraged to be myself, to work through my problems, and to figure out who I truly was. Coach Yates excels as a coach, not only being there for tennis practice, but also coming to other extracurricular events and supporting her students in every single way, shape, and form. She provided us with things she did not need to. When we won games, she would buy us donuts out of her own pocket money, which the tennis team does not have a lot of money. So it was a lot of devotion for her to do that, and she always made sure that my favorite donut was there. So, I highly, highly recommend you to retain Coach Yates' position, as she is one of the most important people that have happened to me in my life, and without her, I may not be standing here today. Thank you.
Next we have Angela Zinn.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Dr. Angela Zimmen, a resident of the Gettysburg Area School District and mother of 2 alumni, and a former NCAA Division I tennis player. Prior to relocating to Pennsylvania in 2014, I had the privilege of serving as the president of a county-wide school board in Ohio, and then being elected president of the Northwest region of the Ohio School Boards Association, encompassing 20 counties. The role of a school board member is clear. On the executive side, board members are responsible for the hiring and, if necessary, the removal of one employee, the superintendent. And On the legislative side, we bear responsibility for setting policy. If we didn't approve lists of employees as presented in their entirety, it would have been a reflection of our mistrust of the person we hired as superintendent and their ability to provide oversight to their employees, particularly HR, as far as recommendations were concerned. The role of a board is to hire and fire a superintendent and set policy, and that's it. Anything else was and is egregious government overreach at the local level. I urge you to trust those you have hired to make recommendations for staffing. Let's keep Coach Yates on the tennis courts and taxpayer dollars out of the legal courts, which is where this unfortunate situation is likely headed. If our directors, regardless of their personal opinions to which you are entitled, do not adhere to the limited government role in this situation. Thank you.
Next we have Lily Hodemaker.
Hi, my name is Lily Hodemaker. I am a pretty long-term resident of Gettysburg. I just graduated in 2022. I just want to say thank you to the board for listening to all of my peers, community members. Very much appreciate your time. And I want to give a big thank you to all of my peers who I see out here. It's very brave of you to be here today. I won't take up much of your time. I don't have much to say, but I just want the board to realize that we are an ever-growing community and an ever-growing world. We don't want to take a step back. We want to step forward into the future. So let's think about our actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lily. Next we have Constance Tarbox.
Hi, I'm Constance Tarbox. I did not prepare anything like all of the eloquent people so far have done because I wasn't planning on speaking, because I have a trans kid and I was too scared to identify myself because this community scares me sometimes because I want my kid to feel safe. And I don't want my kid to feel like when they go to school, they have to hide who they are because a teacher or a coach didn't hide who they were. And so it's really important to me to just say out loud that representation matters and that it needs to be more than just cisgenders represented, because through the course of my time as a parent of students in this district, many young people have come out to me as transgender. There's a lot of kids that felt safe talking to me and haven't felt safe in general, and I want this world to be a safer place for them. And so they need to know that their school board is protecting them, and a way to show that is to protect their teachers, coaches. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Lance. Having trouble making out the last name. Windish. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lance Windish. I am a horrible tennis player. I am, however, a father and a teacher here in Gettysburg. I have 2 children in this district.
I have yet to hear any legitimate reason for not renewing Ms. Yates' contract. What I have heard is testimonials of people whose lives she has touched and changed and strengthened as an educator. And that's a big deal. Ms. Yates, from what I've heard, if I ever decided to up my game and want to get into tennis or encourage my children to get into tennis, what I've heard tonight has made me feel like I would want you to be their teacher. And that's what we need. We need a community who's excited about the people that represent them. In lieu of any legitimate reason for not renewing her contract, then I just would like to point out two further things. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And a tenet of the warrior way, who I can't always say that I'm like, woo, go Warriors, but a tenet of the warrior way is to be kind. So in absence of any legitimate reason for not renewing the contract, then look to your hearts.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Next we have Elizabeth Keller.
Hello, everyone. 2 years ago, I hosted an exchange student from South Africa, Sinikwe Mabese, and she had the opportunity to play tennis. I told her a little bit about what was going on, and she forwarded to me a statement of support that she asked me to read. Coach Sasha is a remarkably talented coach who creates a welcoming environment for everyone who wishes to play tennis. During my time on the team, she was a supporting coach who really helped me improve my tennis skills. She was always there with a joke and an encouraging smile as she helped you perfect your backhand. Letting her go would be a great loss for GASD and the tennis team. Simnikwe Elethu Babese.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next we have Scott Hancock.
Good evening. I live in the borough. 3 kids graduated, 2 of whom played with Michelle's son in soccer. 2 grandchildren currently in district. I think we all have one thing in common, regardless of where we are on either side of this issue. I think we all care about kids. And I know that's true of Michelle. I know that's true of Kenny Hassinger, even though we disagree on some issues. I've been coaching Gettysburg District for 20 years. I believe that athletics comes alongside the educational mission of the school, which includes being good citizens, which I'd suggest includes providing opportunity for students to learn, to work, and live with people who are different from them. I also wonder, frankly, if I'm at risk because I teach at the college and I teach about critical race theory. It reminds me of a time, thankfully a long time ago, when black people like me were not allowed to teach or teach at places like this. I'm also aware that many of my fellow members of the body of Christ, as a committed follower of Christ myself since I was 18, and I'm 61 now, are very concerned about this issue. If any of my grandkids play tennis, and please God, let them play soccer. No offense to you tennis folks. I'm frankly not worried about this if they come under Coach Yates's teaching and care, because I trust God to take care of them, to teach them to see all people first made in his image, and therefore have incredible value. We have just Christ, we have nothing to fear. I urge the board to Coach Yates's contract.
Thank you, Scott. Next we have Janelle Wurzberger.
My name is Janelle Wurzberger. I'm a GASD resident and parent of 2 GAHS graduates, classes of 2023 and 2020. I'm not a tennis player, but frankly, I'm kind of thinking of taking it up at this point because it sounds awesome. I am writing to express strong concern about alleged employment discrimination against head tennis coach Sasha Yates. One of our school board members has been vocal about targeting this employee because she is transgender. Not only is this morally wrong, it is actually illegal. The Pennsylvania Human Relations Act
Ma'am,
covers-
we're going to be respectful of speaker's time. You will be quiet and let her speak. Go ahead.
The Pennsylvania Human Relations Act covers discrimination in employment, among other things, and prohibits discrimination based on sex, among other things. Earlier this year, the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission announced new regulations that expand and clarify the definition of sex, among other things, to bring it in line with how federal courts, including the U.S. Supreme Court, define sex. Please be aware that sex as a protected class explicitly includes sex assigned at birth and gender identity or expression. Not renewing Coach Yates' contract will open the district to expensive lawsuits, which will ultimately be borne by the taxpayers. But beyond considering this decision from a financial or legal perspective, it is morally abhorrent and negligent to suggest that her gender identity is anything less than acceptable. Our LGBT plus students are hyper aware of the messages that our community sends them, and this is one that may be irreversibly damaging. Please bear in mind the increased risk of suicide for youth and how much higher that risk is for LGBTQ plus youth. Our district suffered the ultimate loss of 2 treasured students who died by suicide during the 2022-23 academic year. GASD should be doing everything in its power to lower the risk. Sending the message that transgender people are not worthy of being part of this community is reckless. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chad Allen Carr. I live in Gettysburg, area school district for the last 15 years. I'm originally from Texas, so like the other speaker had spoke about coming from the South, I left there for a reason. Because I would have been a teen suicide had I not met a mentor just like Sasha Yates, who clearly, some of the students that are here tonight have clearly expressed what an incredible mentor and life-changing individual, wonderful educator. The bullying that I have seen on Facebook, ridiculous, absurd. Keep your personal agendas out of it and vote for the community at large. That's what you were elected for. That type of bullying is the reason why people commit suicide at a young age, especially lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender plus. Unless there is something against policy, and if there is, point to that policy, point to it. If there's something illegal, bring on something, some charge. There is nothing. You have nothing. It is clear discrimination. I applaud the students that are here. You are brave, and I look up to you very much. Thank you.
Next we have Paul Keller.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Paul Kellett. I'm a proud graduate of Gettysburg Area High School, class of '84. Parent of 2 children. My daughter graduated from here, and my son is entering his sophomore year. And both of my children have dropped out of athletics because of unsupportive coaches here at Gettysburg High School. And it is a real shame to get rid of a coach who is a supportive coach. My kids didn't have that experience and left it. And I thought it was a real shame because I think athletics are a major part of the experience. I'm also a proud uncle of 2 trans youth. And I think that there's been a lot of talk about suicide, but one of the statistics you haven't heard is that suicide is reduced by 40% if there's somebody in that kid's life who they can turn to and care for. And Coach Yates is one of those people. If you're concerned about protecting your kids, have role models for them to look up to. And you need to have a diverse community because your youth are diverse. You cannot look to change who people are. You can only hope to support people as they are. And I urge this board to be supportive of all of our kids, not just the varsity athletes, not just the excellent students. And please take the recommendation of your superintendent and retain Coach Yates. Thank you.
Next we have Alexandria Escalium. I'm having trouble with the handwriting here a little bit. My apologies.
Thank you, Alexandra Escalera, and my handwriting. The bathroom, that's what I understand it's about.
Alexandria, would you put the microphone a little closer? Thank you.
Yes, the bathroom. So I understand that is what this is about. I don't know this coach. I don't know much about this other than what I've heard spoken here tonight. The bathrooms and the children and this gentleman, his child. Everybody matters. The bathrooms is the problem. Nobody's arguing her qualification. And I would suggest that maybe they think of something different that they can do. But it was about the bathrooms.
And finally, we have Eddie Fleming.
Hi, Eddie Fleming, father, concerned citizen. I'm really gravely concerned because there's been a lot of very well educated and very passionate people speaking tonight, conflating the issue and making this a trans issue. As the lady who just spoke before me said, this is not about any of that. We are called to love all equally. But what this is about, there was an adult coach went into the student's bathroom, went to the student's locker room and changed there. That's really what this is about. And we have to protect our students by first protecting our students, not protecting the coaches who are supposed to protect them. This board wants to protect all students, trans, gay, straight, you name it. This is about students' rights and the right to have a safe bathroom, have a safe locker room. Doesn't matter by what pronoun you go under, he, she, ze, they. Not the pronoun that's the problem. It's when you have an adult that goes into a private space with minors and makes them unsafe. So thank you, and I firmly regard everyone to please be clear on that and to vote to not change. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie, and on behalf of the entire school board and administration, we appreciate everyone who came tonight, and especially those who came to the microphone and shared. We certainly will digest all that information. At this time, I'd like to turn things back over to Acting President Mike Dickerson.
Thank you, Dr. Moyer. All right, so we'll continue on with our meeting. If I could please get a motion for items 5.1 through 5.3, and just would like to remind the board members that at the beginning of the meeting we did make a motion to amend the agenda and pull Coach Yates' name from the approval list.
I'd like to ask that we pull 5.3, separate that. You're going to have to abstain. that.
Okay, could I please get a motion to include item 5.1 and 5.2 for a roll call vote? Separate 5.3. We need to separate 5.3 because the board member needs to abstain from a vote on 5.3 under HR.
Second.
Okay. Question? All right, roll call. Michelle?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Elmo?
Yes.
Tim? Jeremy? Ryan?
Yes.
Zimmen?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, so we get a we're going to vote on 5.1 and 5.2 separately, correct? We have a motion to separate 5.3, so we'll just vote. Okay. All right, so can I get a motion for a vote on 5.1 and 5. Question? Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Tim? Jeremy? Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right. Can I get a motion to move 5.3 forward?
So moved.
Do that.
Can I get a motion to move 5.
Second.
All right. 5.3. Question? John? Michelle?
I'm
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Tim? Jeremy? Brian?
Yes.
Timon?
Nope.
And I vote yes. All right, moving on to item number 6, items for board act. 6.1 is going to be the approval for the James Geddes Lincoln Elementary project. Maybe a discussion to take action to approve a pre-order for long lead time equipment for the purchase of $3,685,853 for the HVAC project to move forward. I get a motion.
Second.
My questions? Okay, no questions? Hearing none. Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Al?
Yes.
Tim? Jeremy? Brian?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7, information item. So, Dr. Perrin, do you want to speak to 7.1, job description for the Director of Student Services?
Sure. The information items are 2 job descriptions that were done with 2 of the hires on tonight's human resources. Director of Special Education, Director of Student Services.
Questions from the board? Information items? Hearing none, board committee reports. Anything from facilities? Dr. Moyer, anything from finance? Or from the legislature?
Things under legislative, but I won't address them all tonight because we've been here a while. But I would just say I've been going back and forth a little bit with our state reps. Again, now I'm torn I did do a spot with WITF today regarding our resolution and the resolution of 490 school districts in Pennsylvania regarding cyber charter school reform. I just want to make, and while we have a pretty good number of the public here, we, and I'll speak for myself, we are not against school choice at all. The way that, Mr. Mal had insinuated. But we are against being overcharged for services. And that's something we feel that needs to change. It has passed the House Bill 1422. It's now in the Senate Education Committee. There's a strong group there that gets a lot of donations, I think, for their campaigns. So I'm not real optimistic that the bill will go through as it is currently stated, but I am somewhat optimistic that we will eventually see some savings to the taxpayers of Gettysburg School District and across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'm going to keep banging away at that topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moyer. From the Policy Committee side, next meeting will be held December 12th, it's Tuesday. We'll get started and that'll be at 4 p.m. in the Administration Building. And I'll kick it over to Dr. Perrin for anything for program reports.
Get a good night's sleep. Take lots of cool first day pictures. And send them. Have a blast tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Perrin. So calendar of board events, some upcoming dates. Our next school board meeting will be Tuesday. There'll be a Tuesday meeting on September 5th. At the administration, we plan on being back over at the admin building at 7 p.m. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.